Hi everybody, thanks for pressing play on the video today. It's Caroline here from craftycarolinecreates.com. Today is my first video showing you a project using products from the brand new Stampin' Up! Autumn Winter catalogue, which launched yesterday on the 1st of September. And of course I had to use my favourite stamp set from the catalogue, which is the gorgeous Star of Light and the matching Starlight framelit, and I have used them to create, ooh, if I don't drop it, what I think is this really beautiful and very elegant Christmas gift box. It opens by sliding off the ribbon, which is attached to the lid, and it just slides off, and it's a really decent sized gift box. 2 inches by 3 inches, I think, 3.5 inches high when it's finished. I'll check that measurement for you and put it on my blog. And I just think it is a gorgeous stamp set and a gorgeous Christmas project, and it's not red and green. I will have lots of red and green coming, but this is the first project I wanted to share with you, so I hope you like it, and let's get on and I will show you how I made it. So we're going to start with a piece of Whisper White cardstock. It measures 8.5 by 5 inches, and we're going to do some stamping to begin with. So let's bring in my foam mat and a bit of scrap paper. And our ink colours that we're going to use are Pool Party and Smoky Slate. So I'll just open those up ready. And the stamp set, as I said, is the gorgeous Star of Love, which I think is probably the nicest stamp set in the whole of the new catalogue. We are going to just use 2 stamps from it initially. We're going to use this star and the little mini star of the same pattern. So I've mounted them up, and we're going to use the slightly larger one in Pool Party. Oh, a little bit of a line on my cardstock. Flip it over and we'll stamp on the other side. And we are just going to stamp this image all over our card. Now, the bottom 2 inches of the card is going to be the bottom of the box, so I'm just staying clear of that area, because there's a bit of wasted stamping that you're not going to see. But I'm going to go right up to the top, all over like this. You know that I love doing this sort of effect. Okay, nearly there with our blue. Perfect. And then I'm going to swap over and use the smaller stamp of the same pattern, and this time in Smoky Slate. I'm just going to go back and use this to fill in lots of gaps between my bigger stars as we build up our own little pattern all over our cardstock. Okay. As I always say, there is absolutely no right or wrong way of doing this. You are aiming for a completely random pattern, so don't try too hard to sort of get any symmetry going on, because you are really aiming for something that is quite random. Just fill in all those gaps. If you haven't already received one and would like a copy of the new Autumn Winter Stampin' Up! Catalogue, do pop over to my blog, craftycarolinecreates.com, and you can request one absolutely free of charge on there. It would be my pleasure to pop one in the post out to you. Okay, so that is pretty much all done. Just a little bit more stamping before we put it away. Got a scrap of Whisper White, and I have some punches. I have the 1 1/4 circle punch and the 1 inch circle punch. I'm just going to punch out a 1 inch circle of Whisper White. Oh, knocking over my lamp. And 1 1/4 inch circle of Whisper White. And these are just going to be for decorating our lid. So again, I'm just going to use the same stamp set and randomly stamp on these circles. Okay, come back in with my Smoky Slate, and photopolymer stamp sets make this super easy to do. Okay, so we just put those aside to the end, and we can start doing a bit more construction on our box. So we're going to do some scoring. So let's put the foam mat and the scrap paper away. Bring in the Simply Scored. There we go. And we are going to start by scoring this at the top with the long side at the top. As I said, 2 inches is going to be our base, so we're just going to do a line along there at 2 inches. Rotate that 90 degrees and we're going to score it at 2, at 4, at 6 and at 8 inches. Okay, oh, and the camera focuses on that. I'm then going to bring in a little piece of Pool Party cardstock. This measures just a smidgen more than 4 inches, so it's sort of 4 1/16 square. And we're going to score this at 3/8 of an inch and at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So one at 3/8 of an inch and then at 1 inch. Okay, and this is going to be our lid, and we are going to make it nice and strong by reinforcing it, and this is what doing these score lines like this will allow us to do. And by making it just a smidgen more than 4 inches, it should fit perfectly over our box. Okay, so let's make the lid first as we have this piece out. I am going to firstly fold and burnish the score lines using my bone folder. Okay, oh, there we go. Okay, and you've probably seen me do this a few times before, but to make our reinforced box we are going to cut off basically an L shape from each corner. So that means we are cutting up 2 score lines to begin with, and then the bottom like that. So you see the L shape has gone, and then what we're left with is a little flap that we will notch out, and we will notch out those 2 flaps as well. So we're getting that sort of shape in each corner. So I'll just do it here. So we're going at 1 score line, 2 score lines twice, and then we're going to cut off that thin bit there and this bit there, which is our L shape removed, and trim off the flaps. And this just gives us a nice sturdy box lid, so that you can take it on and off without worrying about the sides starting to get a little bit tatty. Okay, just gives it quite a bit more strength. Okay, and then the last one, I'll just do this corner here. Cut off there, and notch out flaps. Okay, beautiful. Pull those out of the way, get rid of all these scraps I've generated. And then to make up this box, we're going to start by putting a bit of fuse along this side of each of these end flaps here. Okay, I will get the hang of fuse, I'll probably do 70, but I'll remember to do the flick on camera first time. Okay, and then we're going to put a little bit on the opposite side of the small flaps at the end. Okay. Okay, so fold up your box by folding up those tabs to begin with. Fold up your lid by folding up the tabs even to begin with. Okay, and then once it's folded up, just bend over those tabs, those long flaps, and that just gives you a nicely solid lid. I like to just get in with my bone folder, make sure those creases are pressed down nice and tight. And that is our box lid. To make up the box itself, that is very simple, if I can find where I put it. So this is the cardstock that we stamped earlier. So we're just going to fold and burnish along those score lines again. This is a really lovely gift box, it's very elegant, bit of a contemporary colouring as I said, but really lovely. So the first thing we're going to do is cut off this thin, smaller rectangle. So on the 2-inch section, we're going to cut that off. Okay, and then we're going to cut up each of these flaps. And as I said, these are going to be our base. And then what we want to do is notch out the one furthest away from this little flap here. Leave this one solid because this is going to be our base, so you want to make sure that that is going to be the actual base, so you want to make sure that's solid. And then cut out wedges from the remaining two, like that. Okay, so now we are going to put a little bit of fuse along the underside of that flap there. Just fold over your box and that will stick down perfectly. You can pop that up, fold in your flaps, leaving the one we didn't notch out to last. Just going to put a little bit of fuse on this one, so the penultimate one you fold in, put a little bit of fuse on there just to help that stick together. And then finally the fuse on the bottom of our box. Okay, and fold that over like that. Okay, now to decorate it, as I said, we're going to use the gorgeous Starlight Thinlits. If the stamp set wasn't beautiful enough, these Thinlits are absolutely gorgeous. Look at those. The patterns that they cut out are just absolutely gorgeous. I have done a little walkthrough of the new catalogue. Check out that video and you'll see how this one cuts out. It's beautiful. But today we're going to use the smaller of the ornate stars. And just to save a little bit of time on camera, I've gone and cut these out already. What I did was I cut one out in Pool Party. You can see just how pretty that is. And then I did 4 in Smoky Slate, and what I've done is I've just glued them on top of each other, so that just gives a little bit of depth to the die cut and just gives a little bit more luxurious feel to the box and a little bit more dexterity, is that the word? I'm not sure. Anyway, so the last thing I'm going to do is stick the green one on top, the Pool Party one on top of the Smoky Slate ones that I've laid up. I'm using the fine tip glitter pen, which makes this an absolute doddle. And what I find it's easier to do is to put the glue on the one that you're sort of sticking it to. So put it on the one that we've already mounted. So I'm just need to make sure you dab a little bit of the glue on each bit of the die cut. There we go. We get a good adhesion. Look at me with my big words, adhesion. Gosh, swallowed the dictionary today. So let's then bring in our final die cut and just pop that on top. And then I just like to use my paper piercer to push that into position so that it sits on top of the ones we've already stacked up. It doesn't matter if it doesn't perfectly align, because I kind of quite like seeing a little bit of the grey poking out, but you don't want too much. Okay. Okay, so that builds up just like that. What I like to do is just get a strap of cardstock and just give that a good rub, just to help make sure it's stuck down. But don't stick for too long, otherwise it's going to stick to the cardstock. So that is our beautiful element that we're going to use to decorate our box. So if we find the front, which is this bit here, and then some more of that fine tip glue pen on the back. Okay. And it's probably, actually, now I've done this like this on camera and in my practices, it's probably a good idea to stick this onto your box before you actually fold it up. It'll just make it a little bit easier. So stick this onto that front panel of your box before we fold this up. Okay, so then again I'm going to use my paper piercer to help me pop this into position, just on the centre, a bit lower down than the centre, because remember the lid is going to pop down a little bit. There we go, beautiful. Okay, so at this point you can pop your lid on and you can see that fits on perfectly, and you can see I've just put it so it's just below the lip of the lid. Going to finish that off with one of the larger rhinestones in the centre, just gives it a bit more bling. Okay, And obviously you could just use it stop at this point because the lid does stay on quite nicely on its own. It's a really good fit. It comes on and off easily, but it doesn't fall off, as I said. Now I can't get it back on, but yeah, it goes on easily, she says, and then fails, but you know. But I'm just going to add some additional bling because it is Christmas, using the sequin ribbon, which if you haven't seen it, just adds instant bling to any project. And we're going to start by taking a 1.5 inch circle punch. I can't see the lights reflecting off it. Yeah, 1.5 inch circle punch. And a little scrap, which seems to have run away from me, of Smoky Slate cardstock. Okay. And I'm just going to start by taking a dimensional, which I just got a new set out and it's run away. There we go. A new pack of dimensionals being opened for the first time. Put that on the end of my ribbon with the thread side up at this point, and stick that into the center of my Smoky Slate circle. Hold your Smoky Slate circle on the top of your box and then just run the ribbon round. It's easier than I'm making it, I promise. And then we're just going to take the top of the dimensional off and stick that down like that, and then you can trim off the excess of your ribbon. Okay, gonna then slide that off again. Oh, and we'll just start to build up the other two layers. Remember those two circles that we stamped earlier? So this one is going to then go, the larger one is going to go on first. I'm just going to add a few more dimensionals to the Smoky Slate circle. Remember, it is a bit smaller, so don't put it too close to the end like I just did there. Okay, we'll peel those off. And this is going to then stick to the center of my box, so that when the lid comes off, the ribbon etc would all come with it. Okay, so that should just go back on. There we go, it does. Phew. And then we're just going to pop on our dimensionals, put some in the center there, peel off the back. Oh, I thought this video was going to be quite a short one, that's why I did the die cutting in advance, but it's gotten a bit long, must have been babbling away. Stick the first of your circles on the top, and then let's add our last one. Set it a little bit like that, and I think that is a really gorgeous, really beautiful Christmas gift box. I hope you agree. Yeah, if you'd like to, sorry, I've lost my train of thought there. If you would like to buy any Stampin' Up products, please do not hesitate to get in touch. It would, as always, be my honour and pleasure to help. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you too. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.